What's up, Ramley? You are now in the kitchen with Chef Nixon for all your fixings for the latest and greatest of VCU men's basketball. So, VCU hosted Loyola Chicago yesterday. How'd it go? Let's get into it. All right. So, Loyola Chicago, they come into this game with a record of 13 and 6, 4-1 in the conference. They're coached by Drew Valentine, a young coach, brother of former NBA player Denzel Valentine. Went to Michigan State, was pretty decent, really good college player. Had a couple of highlights in the NBA, but if you ask me, I don't think he panned out that well. That's neither here nor there. But Drew Valentine became the coach last year, and he really found a way to turn this program around. Last year they had a record of 10-21 and 4-14 in the A10 conference play. And if you look at the record now, they're already leaps and bounds ahead of that. And the way he did it was putting this program together was he wanted to install uh, a sense of toughness, a sense of attitude, a sense of pride about playing for the Ramblers, and it's evident that it's starting to get through the players, and now he can build and recruit with that in mind. Um, Loyola returned a pretty good portion of their key players, but they also added a lot of transfers, just like everybody else. Um, so for one, they're led by Philip Austin, averaging 14 points and 4 rebounds. And their next leading scorer is a transfer from Davidson, um, Desmond Watson. He's averaging 13 points and 4 rebounds. I don't know how Davidson allowed him to go. I thought he was a big key to their success last year. He was one of the more athletic guys on the team, and I felt that he always played well against us because he was the one guy on the team that could match up with us athletically. However, here he is with the Ramblers. So how is the new success real for Loyola? That's the question, and VCU is going to put that to test. And VCU entered this game with a record of 11-7, 3-2. They're riding 3-2 in the A10 conference. They're riding a three-game win streak, and they seem to be finding some type of identity offensively and defensively. And today's game or last night's game would be another game without Zeb Jackson. Zeb's still nursing that back with the back spasms. And take your time because I know that can be a real big thing, and it can linger if you don't take care of it properly. Uh, so again, we're gonna have the starter lineup with Jay Nelson featured. Um, Now, the thing about this game is I feel as if this can be VCU's toughest test in the A10 thus far. Um, Seeing George Washington still kind of maneuver the way they are, that's gonna be they're a really good team. Um, and seeing how St. Bonaventure isn't really taking care of business on a consistent basis as you would think, this game may be the test for us. To be honest with you, um, simply because I think George Washington is just a strictly offensive team, and they're gonna have nights where they hit everything, and then they're gonna have nights when they don't. I know Bishop's for real, but I'm not really sure if um, that's going to be something they can sustain throughout the whole A10. And St. Bonaventure is showing me they only want to show up to play VCU. So Loyola Chicago, new sense of urgency, new guys there to help build out that program. How would it go? Now, to start off this recap of this game, I have to tell you what I observed in the first 5 minutes. And this seeing this made me really concerned because it reminded me of last year's team for VCU. Um, Loyola out the gate was very physical defensively. Um, they did a really good job of limiting driving lanes. Anytime you tried to drive, They just had a body there or a hand in there, causing you to stumble, causing you to retreat, not giving you a lane, and they also did a really good job of pushing out our catches. If you go back and watch that film, especially the first half, we were trying to run our offense out by the logo, and that's something that we did very well last year by pushing teams out, um, and making them try to run their offense away from the 3 point line, which offset their timing, um, push some of their shot attempts further than they would like, or further within their comfortable shooting. Um, and then another thing with their physicality, if you step on the gas early with the physicality, two things can happen, and one is more so than the other. There are going to be times where you have a physical team and the referees continue to blow the whistle constantly against this team and take them out of the rhythm. I remember that happened to VCU 2 years ago. I think this was Vince's junior or senior year. I can't remember. But 2 years ago, I think this is when the A10. I think it was 2 years ago. This is when the A10 was in DC, and Richmond beat VCU. And I thought the biggest factor of that is because VCU played such a physical defense, and the referees didn't adjust to that, which is a rarity. But Loyola Chicago, they play so physical from the gate, and the referees adjusted to that. So a lot of the stuff that they were doing, they got away with. The physicality was just a part of the game, which I prefer in any game because you gotta let style of plays be effective, and that's how you can determine whether which team is better, not the referees interjecting and making it their game. Uh, so yeah, I thought those three things off the top were glaring to me, and I said, "Uh oh, this may be trouble," because it didn't look like we could handle that well. Now, there is one thing that did go well for us, and is very fortunate, and which makes it concerns me in a way because if we have to play them again, uh, how are we going to handle that? But Joe Bamisile was able to get really hot really early, and some of the shots he was making were almost bailout situations where it was almost a turnover. We kick it ahead, Joe gets it, and Joe gets it, knocks it down, or it was a broken play. We end up getting control. They kick it to Joe, and he ends up knocking it down. Um, Now that concerned me because okay, how many breaks are we going to get like that? You know what I mean? How many breaks are we going to get where it just happens to find its hand to the ball finds its way into the hottest hand on the court and he just makes it like that doesn't seem that's something we can consistently count on. However, he Joe was really hot in the first half, hit four threes in the first half, um, and that really kind of kept us in the game. I thought that this game, and I even tweeted it last night because, oh, quick pause for the cause. Parents, alert the parents. If you have kids younger than elementary school and under, please soup up, restock your medicine cabinet on Theraflu, Robitussin, cough drops, whatever you need. My daughter caught a bug and brought it home and had me and my wife down for 3 days straight. Okay, it's not a joke. I couldn't even make it to the game yesterday. I would have loved to be at the game. Couldn't make it to the game. Uh, so yeah, play. Um, so yeah, like we was talking about earlier, the physicality didn't just live on the defensive end for Chicago or Loyola, the Ramblers. They made a killing on the offensive boards, and it reminded me of something like ODU. I felt like we guarded their initial action pretty good. However, they just they they would go put their shoulder into our chest, shoot the shot, bump us completely out of the play, get the rebound, and put the ball back up for two. And if I had to count, I must say it probably happened at least 7 times in the first half, where we contest, they bump us, they get the offensive rebound, put it back. It wasn't like they were kicking out for threes. It was just like they were just being more physical than us. And I tweeted this that if we want to win the game, we're gonna have to match slash surpass their physicality because early on in this game, especially the first half, they were really punking us and taking it to us, and it just seemed like they wanted it more, or they caught us off guard with their physicality. You have to match it. Now, the one thing I will say, that I really appreciated throughout this whole game, and like I said, I think we guarded their initial action well. The defensive effort was there. There were multiple plays yesterday where uh, the help side, like think about how the season started off, where if someone got beat, the help side was a step late or wasn't there at all. Think about how many times McNeese State beat us off the dribble and just got an easy layup. You know what I mean? Like think about how things were early on the season, and to see the multiple efforts uh, by the team last night was a beautiful thing. I mean, there was a play where Loyola beat someone. We step up, they kick it, we contest, they kick it again, they kick it again, they drive, they kick it, we get a tip, and then we have Joe Bamsaw and Kwani both diving on the floor for the ball. We didn't get the ball; it was still Loyola basketball, but the effort and the tenacity and the attention to detail on the defensive end was beautiful. And if they can continue to build off that, the sky is the limit for this team. We know they can score. We know they can score. We know they can rebound. But if they can get the defense on like intact and play with the intensity and effort like they did last night, every single night, consistently for 40 minutes, watch out. Watch out. Watch out. Seriously. Seriously. Because I don't think we played great offensively in that first half at all. We had one guy that was really going off. Kwani did pretty good, but in the first half, I mean, Joe was really lighting it up, saving the day. Um, so yeah, and shout out to Mindy Reed on Twitter. She said, "Wham bam, thank you, ma'am," and I think I'm gonna have to steal that. So shout out to her. I'm giving you all the credit, but I will be using that moving forward. That's a beautiful little for pause for Joe. Um, so yeah, going into the second half. I mean, going towards the end of the first half. We're battling. We're battling. They got up to a 6 point lead, and they have an opportunity to extend it. We ended up getting the steal thanks to Kwani and a defensive effort. We kick it ahead to Joe, or was that? That could have been Jay Nell. That could have been Jay Nell that got that one. Kicking it up for Joe Bamsil, hitting a buzzer beater three, which was also needed. It allowed us to go into halftime with a little bit of momentum. Instead of hanging our heads, we had something to carry over to the second half. Now, in the second half, I knew what was going to need, what had to be changed. I wanted us offensively. I wanted us to get out in transition a little bit more. Try to attack early in the shot clock, not allow them to get their defense set to where they can clog the lane and really make us work too hard and force things. And also, we had to close up the second chance points and really keep them out of the paint. In the first half, they had 26 paint points. 26. Some teams don't even have that for a game, but they had 26 in the first half. And they had a kid. What's the kid's name? What's the kid's name? Adelakun. Adelakun. He's a forward. Came in. He had a full beard. Number 15. Or no, well, not 15. What his number is? Number 32. Dame Adelakun. He came in and gave them really good minutes, being physical down low, and shows a little bit of skill too. I didn't, just looking at him, I didn't think he had all that in him, but he transferred into Loyola his first year, and he was a beast. He was a beast. So I knew we had to get an answer for him. We had to score in transition. We had to match the physicality and shore up the paint touches and the paint points. So in the second half, I think we did just that. I thought that we came out with intensity. I thought that we ran better offense. I thought we moved the ball well. Um, I think we used their aggressive defense against them, i.e., when Joe got the backdoor cut for the dunk. That's one of the things you have to be aware of when you're an aggressive team. Um, and even through all that, Loyola was still there and they were game. This is one of the best games. Um, this is one of the best games that I've seen in the A10s thus far this year because it was so much back and forth, but it was good basketball. You know what I mean? It wasn't it wasn't just we would turn the ball over. It was Loyola was playing great defense. You know what I mean? It wasn't just you know what I mean, them missing shots. We were hustling to make them miss shots. You know what I mean? The adjustments that coach made at halftime were beautiful. You know what I mean? Because you had to make adjustments because obviously the first half just wasn't it. So the kid, what's the kid's name? Miles Rubin. Miles Rubin for them. He's a freshman, 6'10". Holy smokes, he's going to be a problem. Um, he's averaging 2.2 blocks per game, but he made his presence felt. And I have to say this because apparently we don't know. But when you're attacking the shot blocker, and I say this because he caused like there was a gang of times where we had the first step on him and we didn't do what we needed to do to get the shot off. We tried to avoid it, go around him. But when you're attacking the shot blocker, you have to go hit him in the chest and go over the top. Otherwise, this kid is going to be too good with his timing and his length to block shots. Um, and it was just evident. Um, but all in all, this is one of the best games I've seen. Both teams both teams came to play. Um, both coaches made adjustments. Um, and I really think it came down to just us having a little bit more experience. I think us having just a little bit more experience than them, uh, and a little bit more of us going through more stuff than them this year. Uh, VCU has been through a lot of ups and downs, having to play without players, being in tough environments, uh, having leads and losing them, never having a lead in the second half. Like we've been through so much this year, so I think that they've been collectively as a team. I feel as if there's nothing that can really rattle them. And tonight, like I said, for any other game, you never know who's going to step up for you. Last game was Joe Bamsil. In this game, he stepped up again, but also he brought Kwani with him as well. Um, both hitting key buckets. Kwani with the 4-point play late. Joe Bamsil with his play all throughout the night. It helped fuel VCU to pull out a tough 74-67 win over a very game and well coached team in Loyola Chicago. So for Loyola, Miles Rubin, like I said, he's going to be a problem. He's a freshman, 6'10", center, 11 points, 10 rebounds, 2 blocks last night. Incredible game for him. Jaden Dawson, 12 points. Now, I do want to bring this up simply for the fact that I mentioned it last game, and I feel like it needs to be addressed. VCU is doing a really, 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 really good job on minimizing the opposing team's best player. Now, let me look at this. Now, I said that Philip Austin was their go-to guy. He leads them with 14 points, 4 rebounds. Last night, Austin, he finished with 5 points, 2 rebounds, 1 assist. 2 for 8 from the field, 0 for 2 from 3. Now, if that's not paying attention to detail on defensive end, I don't know what is. And I have to give a big salute to the coaching staff for really dialing in and making teams other players try to beat us. And this is like the third game in a row where we shut down. If it's a two-head monster, only one guy's getting off. If they only got one guy, forget about it. You know what I mean? And we're doing this without one of our best defenders on the court, Zeb Jackson. So I have to salute the coaching staff for really drawing out the scouting reports and drilling in what needs to be done, and also for the guys for going out and executing at a high level. So salute to y'all. So now VCU, Joe Bamisile had him a night. Had him a night. Joe had 25 points, 6 rebounds. He was 5 from 8 from 3, and 9 for 17 from the field in total. And every bucket he had just seemed to be a big one. That's how close the game was. It was not just a big bucket, but a necessary bucket. And when you got somebody out, you need somebody to step up. I'm glad that Joe answered the bell, because if you recall, before last game, he had struggled the previous 2 games, and it's really good to see a scorer and a shooter, a guy who really is a gym rat, who puts the work in, see all his work come to fruition. And if you heard the interview with him and Robbie afterwards, you know what I mean. You really gotta respect the kid and really appreciate the way he thinks for someone his age. So shout out to you, Joe. Now Kwani had him a night as well. 16 points, 3 rebounds, a gang of big shots, and it's beautiful. Again, I said this about Joe, but you can say the same thing about Kwani. I don't want to beat a dead horse, because everybody says now how he started off over 17, but he really found a rhythm. He found his confidence, and I think he just got healed up. His shoulder was messed up. He's healed now. He's comfortable. The system fits him, and he's excelling in it. And I wish him the best. Now, my low-key player of the game, no one else than Sean White Magic Barstow. 12 points, 6 assists, 4 rebounds. And granted, that's a great stat line. I still think Sean has more to give us. And it may not be any different in the stats, but defensively, he can be better. We're not asking him to be somebody he isn't. We're not asking him to be Dennis Rodman. We're not asking him to be Draymond Green. We're not asking him to be Patrick Beverley or anything like that. But there's a lot of times where he'll miss an assignment defensively, and he'll you know what I mean, he'll just look lost out there defensively. I think if he can improve on that and have somebody to get on him about improving on that, then his team takes another step forward. You know what I mean? So that's my challenge to Sean. Now, moving forward, VCU, they head to Davidson, who is 11-7 for a Saturday night showdown. Davidson plays St. Louis tonight, and then they prepare for VCU. They're led by David Skolman, who's averaging 13 points, 5 rebounds, and Grant Huffman, who's averaging 13 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists. We all know Davidson's style of play. Now it's just you just got to go out there and execute. You know, we know their style of play. We know they're going to bring to the table. They play a good defense. They run a very tight offense. Run through the sets, get the best looks, set good screens. Very, very neat, special basketball. And VC's going to need their defense to travel with them. If you remember, Zeb Jackson, we barely pulled that one out. Zeb Jackson had hit a game winner last time we went down there. Now I know this is a different team. We're longer. You know what I'm saying? We're a little bit more active on the boards. We can do a little bit of different things this year than last year. However, Davidson is always going to be a tough out because they're so well coached and they have their identity and they know how they want to play. All right. So for those Rams who are traveling down there, travel safely. For those who aren't, we will have a virtual watch party, aka the Crock Pot. I will be sending out sound notifications soon. We're gonna get some of the alumni hoopers in there as well. Um, Maybe we'll see a Jessica Rosa, maybe we'll see a B.A. Walker, something like that in there. Uh, but yeah, I will keep everybody posted. All right. So until next time, never quit, stay humble. Peace.